Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 4 of What If Naruto had the Storm release. If you guys enjoy this What If, and want to see part 5 of it, comment down below, and let me know. The like goal for this video is 100 likes. So like this video, to let me know that you're interested in this series, and you want the next part. And go ahead and check out other What Ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. Yamato-sensei, there is something wrong here. Naruto asked while he slowed down a bit. What's wrong, Naruto? Yamato slowed down as well. With their current speed they would be able to catch up with Team 7 anytime soon. Something doesn't feel right. I don't know how to explain, but the atmosphere around here feels unnatural. Years of training with Anbu paid off for Yamato. He was able to hide his surprised state fast. He looked around and saw the air was moister than normal. Inside Naruto's mind Raiju caught an eyebrow, then he smirked. Naruto, where do you feel the most disturbance? Yamato questioned his apprentice, not sure how he was able to sense it faster than him. From there, Naruto pointed to the direction. Let's go. Yamato told Naruto, hoping that it was not what his instincts were telling him. 10 minutes later. Seems like a fake mist, Naruto said to no one when he saw a bit of mist here and there. This kid is just full of wonders. How did he figure it out that the mist is not natural? We are not even close to the source yet, Yamato thought to himself. Naruto, I think Team 7 will need our help sooner than we thought. We have the element of surprise here. I want you to use it to come with something. Yamato ordered Naruto, because he knew when it came to do something surprising and unique, Naruto pulls it off more swiftly than an Anbu. Naruto nodded, and immediately he made 3 shadow clones and gave them 3 kunai. Alright guys, let's try our original Uzumaki style. Piercing phantom arrow technique. The clones gave a wild smirk and ran off to different directions. Naruto looked back at Yamato and seeing his face he just told him to wait and see. Present time. 2 figures drop right in front of Team 7. The backup team has arrived. Don't worry my fellow comrades, as your savior the backup team has arrived. Naruto shouted while pointing his index finger and his imaginary pointy nose upwards. Everyone's sweat dropped. The killing mode was gone in less than a second. Naruto, get serious. This is Abusa, a high A class missing nin. Yamato grunted. It was embarrassing every time Naruto did that pose, and no matter what he said he didn't stop. Team 7 guard your client, Naruto back me up. Yamato ordered and took his fighting stance. Naruto moved a bit closer to Yamato. Sensei, outsider, kill 3rd clone, unknown location. He whispered. Yamato became alerted. It's true, Naruto sent out 3 clones with kunai, but only 2 was thrown. Someone was out there and the fact that the said person was able to caught Naruto's clone off guard meant business. Yamato signaled Naruto, and then rushed towards Sabusa. Distract Sabusa and keep an eye out for the partner. After getting the message Naruto sighed. Even though he wanted to help his sensei, he couldn't get directly involved now that there was another hidden person out there. With Sabusa. Things were tough with Sharingan no Kakashi, but after he was able to pull him to fight on top of the water, things went just like it was supposed to. True that Kakashi can copy jutsus, but he had to use more chakra than normal to power up the jutsu, otherwise it wouldn't be effective against Sabusa. And because of the implanted Sharingan, his chakra ran out faster, making him exhausted. He got him in his water prison and almost completed his objective, but then the reinforcement came. Worst part, there were more people out in the woods, because the 2 kunai was thrown at him from different directions. He knew he couldn't keep on fighting less than against 2 jonins. He had to cut down the number to half. With that he brought his weapon up, but before he could take the swing to cut Kakashi in half, who was still trapped inside his water prison. The man that was rushing towards him suddenly ducked, and another electric kunai came at him. But to his surprise, instead of hitting him, it hit the water prison, and gave him a light electric shock, but it was enough to disrupt the prison. Without wasting any time, Zabuza swung his sword down, hoping he was fast enough to kill Kakashi before he escaped. He cut down something, but to his frustration it was a log. And immediately he dodged to avoid an earth spike, but the second unnoticed earth spike impaled his left shoulder. He rotated his body to the side, before it could tear his shoulder apart. Kakashi was out, and the new jonin was fresh. Zabuza was no fool to realize that his defeat was inevitable. He jumped back, landing on the water. He started swinging his sword in the air, and on the last swing he rotated his whole body, while dipping 1/3 of his sword into the water. Seeker's sword art, tidal wave. And then he took the last swing towards the Konoha ninjas. The big white wave came at them. It was as if the swing of the sword created that. Water release, tearing torrent. Yamato shouted, landing in front of the genins. Water release. Water dragon bullet technique. Kakashi yelled the moment he went beside Yamato. The water dragon was made with less water as Kakashi was running low on chakra, but with Yamato's jutsu, the water beast had enough power to tear down the oncoming gigantic wave. But when the water calmed down, Zabuza was gone. Shouldn't we go after him? Sai suggested. No? Kakashi-senpai is tired, and our job is to protect you guys. Pointing to Kakashi, who is breathing hard, then Yamato turned to Tazuna and asked, how far is your house? Not far, maybe it would take an hour or so to reach there. Make it 15 minutes. Naruto, take the old man. I will carry Kakashi-senpai. Team 7, we are moving out. 20 minutes later. After reaching Tazuna's house, they were greeted by his daughter, Tsunami, who was a beautiful woman in her late 20s with long black hair and black eyes. Father, you are back, she said in obvious relief. Yes, thanks to these ninja. Tazuna replied with as much joy as her daughter. Is there any place we can rest? Yamato asked politely. As much as he would like to see the reunion of the family, he was still carrying an unconscious Kakashi. Tsunami blushed and led them inside. After a few hours of relaxation, all the genin met outside of the house as instructed. Team 7, as you know, Kakashi-san collapsed cause of chakra exhaustion, and it might take a while before he reached his fighting condition. So till he is fully recovered, I will be in charge. Yamato explained in a serious tone. He knew this team would be hard to handle, so he had to take precautions. And as you saw, Zabuza escaped, but he was hurt badly. So if I have to take a guess, I would say for a few days we won't be facing any problems from him, hopefully. For now, I will be training you before Zabuza comes back, and you can be sure that he will bring reinforcements. All of them were taken back when they heard that. Are you sure, sensei? Sakura asked nervously. Zabuza alone almost took out their team. If he had reinforcements now, the battle might be not to their favor anymore. Zabuza has two options now. Either he will drop the mission as he can't take two jonins alone, or he would ask for some backup to make sure he gets enough chance to complete his task. Yamato clarified the facts. They had to be ready for anything. This wasn't a simple C-rank mission anymore. This was an A-rank mission which had to be done with few chunin squads. Alright, let's leave the scary stuffs alone. Yamato tried to lighten up the mood. Kakashi-sen asked me to teach you 3 about tree climbing exercise. Follow me. But before leaving, he made a shadow clone. Naruto, you keep on practicing that jutsu of yours. I will come to you after I am done with them. With that, he led Team 7 into different area. At Zabuza's hideout. Zabuza-sama, you should rest. Your shoulder is hurt pretty badly. You think, Haku? Zabuza deadpanned, looking at the said person. Haku, a 14-year-old girl with shoulder-length black hair and brown eyes, just smiled back sweetly, and jabbed Zabuza with an ice sand bone. Zabuza flinched at the contact of the frozen needle. If you weren't laid back, you could have finished the job faster, and let me remind you, Zabuza-sama, that I was against this from the very beginning. Also, if I hadn't interfered with the blonde, you might have been caught. Haku said with a sugary tone which made Zabuza back down and sweat furiously. Damn, this girl is becoming feisty. And she is right, the blonde genin was good. He was able to take me by surprise 2 times, and if I wasn't lucky, I wouldn't have made it out. Zabuza thought to himself. Look, the demon got his ass whipped. Gato announced his presence when he entered the place with his bodyguards. Fat pig waste of space. Haku, Zabuza thought, but kept it to themselves. Haku gave Gato a chilling cold glare. Seriously? Please go check Copycat Kakashi on the bingo book, and Zabuza-sama here beat him and almost got the job done if it wasn't for the reinforcement. Tried to say something useful once in a while. Haku sighed. Zabuza-sama, I will go out and check for some herbs for your wound. With that, she left. Something happened. Gato tried to regain his composure, but it's kind of hard when one almost pissed himself. Zabuza looked at the frozen pieces of an orange book and wept mentally. When moving him after the battle, she found the book which he was hiding from her for a few months, and things went downhill from there. Never mind that, but as you heard, things got difficult. And I can't handle them alone. So you need more money. Is it? Gato snorted. Zabuza made "Are you stupid" face and just shook his head. He always wondered how idiots like him could make tons of cash. What am I supposed to do with the money? Throw at them? I need backup, you useless fart. Try to get someone who can at least hold off an Anbu for some time till I can finish the bridge builder. Your thugs won't be helpful, that's for sure. Zabuza spat out. He lost the fight, he lost his book, and Haku was pissed at him. He really needed to cleave some heads. Gato just grunted and went out of the place. With Yamato. Yamato told Team 7 about tree walking. He wasn't surprised when Sai finished first, but he didn't expect Sakura to finish fast as well. But if he were to take a guess, it was that her chakra reserve was really low. So he just told them to keep doing it until Sasuke managed as well. Kakashi and he believed that Sai might be a plant from Danzo to keep close tabs on Sasuke and Naruto as well, because he caught Sai sending his ink mouse toward Naruto when they separated. That solidified Hokage fear as well as their doubt. He destroyed the mouse and told Sai if that was to happen again, he would be charged for spying on fellow comrades. Hopefully that will stop him from doing further troubles, at least for now. Sensei, would you be teaching us any jutsu? Sakura asked while panting. Doing tree walking few times really took its toll on her chakra. Why? Yamato cocked an eyebrow hearing that. He saw the other two also was listening carefully. I mean, you are teaching Naruto a jutsu, shouldn't you teach us as well? And that Baka is not even practicing this exercise. And how will this even help? Sakura said, crossing her arms. Sakura, now what he heard from Kakashi, that she had potential, but she acted more of a girl than a kunoichi. With that kind of mentality in this world she wouldn't last much, unless she tried to change. Yamato just sighed. Not every jonin was as laid back as Kakashi, and it's high time she understood that. You're under Kakashi-san's command, not mine. Naruto is my student so I can train him the way I see fit. About this exercise, he knows higher level of chakra exercise than this. And unlike you, those two aren't complaining and doing their work, aren't they? As for this exercise, it will help you control your chakra better. Also, I may not be as strict as some jonin, but be polite when you are talking with your superiors. Yamato pointed out heatedly. Sakura was beyond shocked. Usually Kakashi would just shrug things off or come with poor excuses when he didn't want to answer. So even when she yelled at him or rudely asked him something, he didn't mind. But this sensei was different. Sorry, sensei. She just muttered and went to rest. Sasuke just shook his head. If he knew more about the apprenticeship, he would have requested the Hokage to grant him one as well. As far he knew, only Chunin or Elite Genin could get it, not some freshly graduated Genin. And by the looks of it, he wouldn't mind having this jonin as his sensei either. Kakashi was good, and after the fight with Zabuza, he knew Kakashi could help him with his Sharingan once he awakened it. But damn Kakashi and his laziness. From what he heard, Naruto was doing as much missions as them and maybe more, but still he was getting tougher training. He just sighed and looked at the tree that he was supposed to climb. Maybe he could ask the dope for a match, but right now he was not so sure if he could beat him, unless he had his Sharingan. With new determination he started practicing again. With Naruto. Naruto was watching his clones trying to master his new taijutsu technique. He knows he was getting better at kenjutsu, but after hearing some points from Yamato he wanted to have some moves on taijutsu as well. His kenjutsu style was deadly, and most of the techniques were hit to kill, and that was why he couldn't use that against an unarmed comrade, unless he was really pissed. Right now one clone was acting as an enemy, while the others were trying to time it down to do the combo. He was observing them from a tree. A high place was always the best place for observation. So what will call this move of yours? Asked the Yamato clone. Being a shadow clone later he could transfer the memories of the training regime. The Uzumaki's style. Mirage takedown. But I can only use it against one guy, and it is kind of one-time thingy. Can't really use it twice in the same match. So I am hoping it packs enough power to knock the opponent down in one go. Naruto replied. By the looks of it, if the original you do the main hit maybe you can. By the way, I didn't hear anything about your other technique. Yamato inquired. You mean Uzumaki's style, piercing phantom arrow? It's simple really. I send few shadow clones to different sides of the battlefield, and at the right moment they will throw lightning charged kunai at the opponents syncing with each other, after which they will dispel themselves immediately. If the opponents don't see me using shadow clones or sending them, then it will catch them by surprise, confusing them and putting them on edge, thinking there are other people in the area. Crafty work, don't you think so? Naruto smiled while giving a victory sign. Yamato laughed. Crafty little fox indeed. He thought to himself. Well, I agree with you. If you were able to throw that last kunai at the right time, maybe we would be able to get Zabuza a lot faster. Yamato pointed out. So what about the one, where you use your bloodline and kenjutsu together? That one, well it works great, but it has a major side effect which is rather bad. I am trying to find a way to go around it. Naruto sighed. After hearing the sound of clone dispelling, Naruto looked at the fighting place. As first phase of the move is done, I will need your help on the second phase, sensei. Naruto said while jumping down from the tree. Sure, but it is getting late today. Let's head out, and you can start early from tomorrow morning. Yamato suggested. Naruto nodded and dispelled the remaining clones. Few hours later. Everyone was tired after the long day. They were now having their dinner on Tazuna's place. Suddenly a boy not older than 10 years came down from upstairs, and looked at them with distrust and annoyance. Who are they? The said boy asked. They're the ninja we were talking about, Inari. Tazuna smiled at him. They should just leave, they are only going to die anyway. The boy snorted and took his food upstairs. He is one charming sunshine, isn't he? Naruto said blankly. Please forgive his behavior, he went through a lot. Tsunami implored. Naruto just shook his head and went to eating. He knew he had a long day tomorrow. He also noticed that all members of Team 7 was taking a glimpse of him every now and then. He glanced at Yamato making what the fuck is going on now look. Yamato just sighed and gave him I will tell about it tomorrow face. Naruto just sighed to himself. Next day. So Naruto, let's take it easy, shall we? Today Kakashi-senpai will supervise his own team's training, so I am not needed there. Okay, so what do you need my help for? Yamato said. Well, that's great then. First sensei, I need one of you wood clone to be the target of my technique Mirage takedown. A wood clone is harder and sturdier than shadow clone, and it will help me a lot, and also if my opponent doesn't get knocked down by that I want to see what kind of other openings it will give me. Naruto summarized. Wow, you got it all sorted out. Nice one, Naruto. Anything else you have in your mind? Now this was why Yamato liked teaching Naruto. You only have to give the kid a seed, and he himself would try to grow the tree all by himself, and would ask for advice only when needed. Naruto scratched his head with embarrassment after hearing the praise. Thanks, sensei. But right now, I just want to master this first, then maybe we can move on to the new lightning jutsu you told about. Naruto answered. Sure, let's get started then. After a few hours later, Naruto was resting, but from afar it would seem he was fast asleep. Yamato went to check on Kakashi and he said he would bring lunch for them. Naruto knew there was a risk of getting attacked, so he created few shadow clones, and hinged them to hide them from normal eyes. Yo Raiju-san, I found something interesting when I was checking the books, 5 Kages and Bloodlines last night. Naruto said to his favorite tenant. So what is it, boy? From the looks of it you seem pretty excited. Raiju asked the blonde. Well, what I learned first was that there is a similar bloodline also known as storm release, but like you said it was written there that the user only combines 2 elements, lightning and water only unlike mine. And also I was looking for an elemental bloodline that uses 3 elements for a long time, and I finally found it. Dust release. Only current Tsuchikage seems to know how to use that. Also guess what? From what I learned, Dust Release is known as Advanced Nature Kekkei Toda, an advanced version of Kekkei Genkai. So does that mean mine is also like that? I do use 3 elements to use my bloodline, and it is not like the normal Storm Release either. Naruto asked while barely containing his excitement. Raiju chuckled lightly. Correction Naruto, you can't use all the 3 elements of your bloodline yet. He laughed when he saw Naruto pouted. But you are right, in human terms, maybe your bloodline is an Advanced Nature Kekkei Toda. But don't tell anyone yet, wait till you fully master it. But can I change the name of my bloodline into a cool one when I can use all the 3 elements? I don't want people thinking it is the same as the other storm release because mine is special, right? Naruto said with a grin. Guess you are right on that also, but I want you to wait and think it out carefully, okay? Raiju pointed out carefully. Naruto wanted to say something, but Raiju stopped him. You have a visitor, Naruto. Outside world. When Haku saw Naruto, she was debating whether to not kill him or no. She approached him, but before she could do anything. You shouldn't try to sneak up on a ninja, it might get you killed. Naruto said with a grin while he still kept his eyes closed. Wow, that was badass of me. Naruto thought to himself. Raiju just snorted. Naruto stuck his tongue out mentally. Naruto got up and looked at the girl in front of him. Now who might you be? What's Tsubusa? Now who the fuck is this guy? Tsubusa asked Gato, while looking at his temporary secondary partner. Mita. The guy said with a grin. Mita of the Kuroko clan. Now who might you be? Naruto questioned the girl in front of him. Isn't it rude to ask someone's name before saying your own first? Haku replied with a playful tone, trying to calm herself down, and not to look too suspicious. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Naruto chuckled nervously, and then he did his favorite pose, pointing his index finger towards the sky, while looking straight at Haku. Naruto Uzumaki, future Hokage of Konoha and the savior of the fellow Konoha comrades. Naruto shouted while trying to look badass. Haku giggled unintentionally. Well, Mr. Savior-san, what were you doing all the way out here? Training, of course. Got tired a bit, so was taking a break. Naruto replied while stretching himself. By the way, I still didn't get your name, and why are you all the way out here? Where's my manner? My name is Haku. Haku modestly answered, but she was thinking what to say next without revealing too much. My partner got injured recently, so I was looking for herbs to treat him. Let me help you then. You guys, come out. No sooner Naruto said that 4 shadow clones came out from 4 different directions. Seeing that Haku got nervous, she was praising herself for not attacking Naruto blindly. Here she thought he was a disadvantage, but it would seem he had the situation under control from the very beginning. Haku-san, show them what kind of herbs you need. Haku showed them a few herbs she had with her. All clones were trying to memorize the herbs. Naruto sighed, just bring back anything that looks similar. The clones nodded sheepishly, and dashed to the forest. Why are you helping me, Naruto-san? Haku asked genuinely. Do you need a reason to help people who are kind? Naruto replied offhandedly. Haku was stunned. In her whole life after that incident, she learned one harsh thing about life, which was that no one helps another without wanting something in return. Thank you. Haku sincerely said, but why are you training all the way out here? From what I can see you seem to be quite strong already, so why train harder? Naruto looked up at the sky as if he was trying to find someone hidden in that vast space. To learn my past so that I can move towards the future. Naruto whispered, which contradicted greatly towards his earlier outbursts. Haku's face softened up, but sometimes it is better to not know about the past. Some pasts are too strong to just let go. Then you just have to become stronger. Naruto smirked. I mean, what kind of future you can create if you don't know your own past? Haku laughed softly, while shaking her head. It had not been more than 5 minutes and she could already say that Naruto was one of a kind. Yes, you are right, Naruto-san. Right after that the clones came with lots of leaves, herbs. Haku chuckled lightly, while she took a few herbs from them. Thank you, Naruto-san. Take care. Haku bowed slightly, while she started to head off towards her place. Yeah, see you soon, Haku-san. Naruto shouted. Let us hope that we don't, Naruto-san. Haku whispered to herself sadly. Zabuza's place. Haku was rubbing her forehead. Things always seemed to get complicated as long as she was involved. Flashback. Haku stopped when she saw the new face in Zabuza's room. The new person was a guy who seemed no more than 20 years old, and had dark brown hair. He was wearing normal Jonin attire, but his Iwa headband was scratched, meaning he was a missing nin from Iwa. But the fact that his head was still attached told her to wait and listen to Zabuza's explanation. I knew Zabuza had a young girl following him, but never knew you will be such a hot tie, the guy said with a smirk. Nice to meet you too, my name is Haku by the way. Haku replied unfazed. Haku, this is Mita of the Kuroko clan, and for the time being we will be working together for our current mission. Zabuza intervened. Sure, as long as we stayed professional. Saying her part, Haku went to make the medicine from the herbs. Mita was grinning lecherously at her the entire time, but suddenly he stopped when he felt chills running through his spines. He looked at Zabuza to see that he was sharpening his Kubikira Bacho, which was surely anywhere but near him, with a kunai. And the fact that he was looking at his lower part wasn't helping either. On pure man instinct he put both his hands in front of his family jewels. Mita, Haku is my tool, you know that right? Seeing Mita nodding, he continued, and you see I want to keep my tool untouched and clean, and for some reason I think that one of your body part might make some problems to that, but rejoice that certain body part has nothing to do with this mission. So do you want me to remove it or? He finished, leaving Mita to figure out the rest. Mita turned around so fast, that seemed impossible to normal people, but he was not a normal people, but a guy who was going to do his best to protect his manhood. Haku-san, please forgive me for my rude behavior, and I hope we can finish the mission professionally and as fast as possible. With that he jolted out of the room. Flashback ends. This is not going to end well. Haku sighed while she finished the medicines. Zabuza was still sharpening his sword. No boy is coming near my girl, unless I have anything to say about it, he thought while laughing manically. Haku's sweat dropped. And somewhere one boy sneezed hard, and felt his balls growing cold. He shivered thinking who could be after his crown. Back to Naruto. So anything happened while I was gone? Yamato asked after they finished their lunch. Nah, the usual. Me helping the helpless. Naruto replied as a matter of fact. Yamato just chuckled. So what do you plan to do now? I think you got your Mirage takedown done. All you need is practice and do it against real opponents. Yeah, that's true. But sensei, I have a few baddest sword techniques, but because of the side effect I can't exactly use it properly yet, and like you said before, sometimes I might not have my swords with me, so I came up with an alternative jutsu, but I think it might take a while to get it down completely. I need help with that, Naruto said seriously. So, can you give me a bit of details of what the jutsu might be like? Yamato inquired sincerely. After a while. Damn, if Naruto can pull this off, this technique is going to rival Chidori or even Rasengan. Yamato thought to himself. So, got any idea from where should I start, Yamato-sensei? Naruto asked nervously. Yamato was quiet the whole time during his explanation. Naruto flinched a bit. If I want to put it in your term, your jutsu will be one baddest jutsu. Yamato smirked when he saw Naruto relaxed. Sometimes pranking the prankster was quite amusing. So, this is what I think you should do first. After a few hours later. Everyone was eating, and after the long day that they just went through, the Genins knew that they needed every bit of energy to pass the week, if it was going to be same like today. For Team 7, they did tree climbing all day but for different purposes. For Sakura it was to increase her chakra capacity. Sasuke just tried to complete the exercise, but he was really close one day or more, and he would complete it. And for Sai, it was to keep an eye on him. After hearing from Yamato, Kakashi was sure that the boy was up to no good. He would have to report about it to Sandaime. And as for our blonde knucklehead, after consulting with Yamato, his opinion about himself was strengthened. He was a baddest genius. His new jutsu, which he came up all by himself, could be a high-ranked one, if he could master it. He did have other strong jutsus on his arsenal, but most of them relied on his swords, and he couldn't use most of them on whim. His new original, on the other hand, was quite flexible, at least that was what he was hoping for. But his first step would be chakra control again. He already did tree climbing, water walking and leaf balancing exercise, but even with Shadow Clone he couldn't seem to advance any more cause of his unusual amount of chakra. So he had to cover it up with elemental chakra control. He already passed the 3rd stage of lightning control, charging up kunai with electricity, but the next one seemed hard. He had to use his lightning element to light up a bulb and keep the light on for 10 minutes straight. If he tried to use too much power, the bulb would explode, too less and it wouldn't light up properly. This exercise was about balancing and maintaining lightning element for a longer period. Well, that's what Yamato-sensei said. Naruto thought to himself. Why do you all try so hard? In the end, Gato is going to kill you anyway. Inari's shouting stopped Naruto's thought. So? He is just a punk with money. We are ninja kid. We are supposed to take care of rich thugs like him. Naruto snorted. This kid was started to get on his nerve. What do you think you are? Heroes. All you can do is just talk when you don't know anything about pain. Inari screamed without knowing that he just stepped into a landmine. The temperature of the room dropped so much that even Tazuna and Tsunami felt it. Oh boy, the kid shouldn't have said that. Yamato thought and looked sadly at Naruto. We don't know pain. What a laugh, kid. From my point of view, you are the one who doesn't know pain. I know about your stepfather. He died trying to protect this country like a hero, and you are handsomely rewarding him by spitting on his grave, acting like a coward and a crybaby. You have your mother and grandfather who are trying their best to make sure you don't suffer. You wake up every day to see them smiling and reassuring you that everything will be alright. So where is the pain here? Me and the team over there. He pointed Sasuke with his thumb, who raised his eyebrow, wakes up every day in an empty place. No one to console us on our bad days, or to compliment us on our better days, and yet here we are, still striving to go on. Do you see us blaming others or trying to run away? Kid, if you don't have the courage to stand up, then don't pull down those that have courage to go on. Naruto took a few deep breaths to calm him down, and then he looked at Yamato. Sensei, I am not hungry. I will train for a while. With that he left. The pin drop silence was broken by Inari's crying, while he dashed to his room. Sasuke also stood up and left. Sorry about that, guess they took his word a bit too hard. Kakashi tried to defuse the situation. Senpai, let me go and talk to the boy. Seeing Kakashi nodding, Yamato looked at Tsunami, and when she nodded as well, he went up to look for the boy. Sasuke was standing while looking down at a blonde from afar who seems to be resting. Dope. With Naruto. Same peaceful land, same roaring sky, same stormy scene. He wondered why this sight always seemed so perfect, even though the scenery of the unending stormy sky and the long quiet landscape contradicted each other. To most it might look chaotic, but to him, it gave him a sense of serenity to his mind. Was it always like this? This feeling that appeased his loneliness, it was as if the sky was looking out for him. The thunder was screaming louder in anger, while the wind was trying to soothe him. He thought it was only in his mindscape, but even though he was here sitting in his mindscape, he could still hear the thunder's cry as well as the wind's gentle touch from the real world. I mess up. Human tends to mess up. I am supposed to be stronger than this. Showing your weak side doesn't mean you don't have strength. Still doesn't justify me blowing my top like that to the kid. Compared to you, his suffering doesn't hold a candle. Why me? Why was I condemned like this? Patience, young one. You will have your answer. Naruto closed his eyes and let his fatigue finally caught up to him. A few days later. It had been more than a week. According to the Jonins, Zabuza might attack at any given day with reinforcements. So Team 7, after Kakashi recovered fully, stayed with Tazuna and watched the bridge, while Yamato and Naruto looked after his family. As for Naruto, he and Yamato were in Tazuna's place looking after his family. Naruto was trying to finish the next part of lightning control exercise. He could keep the light going on for 5 minutes max. After that it either started to wither or exploded depending on his chakra behavior. First he was a bit skeptic, but after thinking more deeply about his jutsu, he understood that he needed to keep the lightning chakra flowing. He also needed to start doing water element training as well. According to Yamato, his chakra ought to be mature enough to start his second elemental training. And for his new particular jutsu he needed that. Suddenly a loud explosion shook the ground. Naruto, is everything in place? Naruto nodded. Okay, let's move out fast. With that both of them dashed out of the house. Two thugs slowly headed toward the house when they saw the ninjas leaving. A bit far away, Yamato reached the explosion site, a secluded part of the town far away from the bridge, just as he predicted. He was met with a young man, and by the looks of his headband he seemed to be a missing nin from Iowa. Naruto, be careful. This one looks tough. Naruto jumped back, getting the hidden message. I am Mita of the Kuroko clan. Pleasure to meet you. The man introduced himself. Yamato of Konohagakure, you made the explosion to draw me out, didn't you? Yamato stated. Yes, and before you Konoha scums ask, no, I am not going to bother to let you go. Now come and let us finish the battle fast. Mita dashed as soon as he finished his sentence while thinking, the sooner I finish the fight the fast I get away from Zabuza with my balls intact. Yamato and Mita started off with taijutsu, while Naruto was watching them intently waiting for Yamato's signal. Yamato came up with some codes between them, because it helped Naruto to intervene accordingly, while giving him a bit insight about the enemy. As a backup to other shinobi teams it helps a lot. You're one talented guy out for blood, it seems. Too bad. Yamato told his opponent with a stern voice. Gotcha. Naruto thought to himself. The code was that, when Yamato would talk to any guy about their skills, depending on the word it varied. Here the word talent meant this guy was a fresh jonin but had skills. The word blood meant color red, which meant he was an A-rank ninja, but here it seemed this guy was borderline A. And when Yamato said too bad, it meant this guy had a bloodline. Bloodlines were always bad news. At the bridge, Kakashi was cursing himself. He was stuck with Zabuza, while Sasuke and Sai were fighting a masked nin, but the problem was the masked nin got heightened and looked more experienced than his students. He had to finish his fight with Zabuza fast cause for some reason he knew that his backup team would be arriving a bit late this time. As for Sasuke, he was pissed. No, scratch that, he was livid. He and Sai just couldn't mix, no matter what they do. The opponent they were fighting was an ice user, a very strong bloodline. The person was a boy wearing a green hiyori with white trimmings with a long scratched mask. His hair was gathered in a white bun holder, while 2 locks of his hair fell loose, framing his face, bound with metal hair cuffs at the ends. His mask was blank with narrow eye holes and long diagonal scratch mark in the middle. Sai was strong, but both of their weakness was water, and the opponent was using it quite well against them. Sai's ink beasts and Sasuke's fire attacks weren't doing anything. Move in, we take him down using taijutsu. Sasuke only hoped that it would work. After all, he couldn't keep an eye on both of them on close range. Ice release, demonic mirroring ice crystals. Oh fuck me. Back at Tazuna's place, Inari was staring down at the thugs that were holding his mom. Flashback. I am sorry, Naruto-san. Inari told Naruto. It was the next day of their little outburst. After hearing from his sensei, Inari understood his life is painful, but there were other people like him. Some had it worse. Nah, it's okay, Inari. I am sorry as well. Shouldn't have blown my tops like that. Naruto smiled at the kid. Seeing Inari relaxing his posture, he continued. But I have one advice to you, Inari. Don't run away from your fears. You still have your loving mother and courageous grandfather. Cherish them, protect them. Don't lose them. Saying his part, Naruto ruffled the boy's hair. Be strong. Flashback ends. Let my mom go. Inari shouted. He was shaking while holding the knife, but he would be damned if he would let another of his precious person die. Look what we have here, a little brat trying to be hero. One thug smugly said. Don't touch my son. Tsunami cried. She looked at Inari. Run, Inari. No, I am not going to lose you too, mom. I am not backing down. The moment Inari finished that, one vase and one picture behind him transformed into 2 Naruto. One grabbed Inari, closing his eyes, and shouted at Tsunami, close your eyes. Tsunami, thinking what dreadful thing might happen, closed her eyes. The thugs readied themselves, but before they could use the hostage card, they were thrown off by a huge bleeding nose. In front of them is the other Naruto clone who just used the infamous sexy no jutsu. A technique so strong that was able to throw off even Hokage. What were these mere punks could do against that? He also learned it the hard way, not to use the jutsu while in front of women, so he told Tsunami to close her eyes. Okay, Inari, take your mom and go somewhere safe, Naruto said while letting the Inari go. Inari's eyes opened to see his mother safe and thugs are down. He looked at Naruto and smiled. Thanks, Naruto Nai. What backup team? Earth release, earth flows spears. Steel release, impervious armor. The hardened earth spikes shattered when they touched the gray metal armor. Shit. The steel users from Iwa are always asking for trouble. Yamato thought to himself. He couldn't go close range and his strong long-range attacks weren't working unless. He looked at Naruto and immediately Naruto made a cross sign with his hand while nodding his head upside down, meaning no one was in the vicinity and they could go all out. It's time to bring in the big guns. Yamato jumped back and lured Mita into more secluded area. For some reason Mita was rushing the fight, and it was working on Yamato's favor. Steel release, metal spears. Mita threw long spikes at him which came out from his hand. Wood release, wood locking wall. The wood wall stopped the spikes, but it did its main purpose, which is to surprise Mita. That few seconds was enough for Naruto. Mita's instinct kicked in, and he ducked just in time to dodge a super fast lightning charged kunai, but he had to dash to the right to dodge another one, but before he could even land, another kunai came and struck his leg. He hissed. Even with his armor, the kunai impaled deeper than his liking. He saw the genin sitting in front of him grinning. He saw red. With pure rage he charged at Naruto, but when he was close enough, he heard the kid saying boom. Mita didn't have enough time to react. He got the full force of the blast, but his armor took most of the damage. He wasn't injured, but it left him dazed. Take that, shadow clone. Explosion version, said Naruto while coming out from the place where the last kunai was thrown from. Wood release, tree bind, flourishing burial. Naruto just gave Yamato enough time to finish the battle. Strong dense wood came from the ground and bound Mita. No point struggling, the wood is going to sap your chakra. You put more chakra, it is going to sap faster, Yamato said while trying to catch his breath. Naruto rushed to support his sensei. Didn't know the Konoha had another wood user, so what now? I don't think you two are fast enough to catch up with your other teammates. Mida grinned even though he knew he was done for, but if he played his cards right the Konoha nins would dash to save their comrades leaving him alone. Well, who said I was here in the first place? Naruto grinned, then proof. Back with Team 7. Sasuke was panting hard, and Sai was down. He got hit by too many senbones. They were heavily outmatched, be it jutsu or tactics. On the good side, he just awakened his Sharingan, but he was having doubts if he was going to live through this. Suddenly a kunai came inside the dome between the mirror space and proof. Naruto Uzumaki, at your. Naruto looked around to see Sai was down, but alive and Sasuke was barely up. Crap, I am late. Before anyone could retort, Naruto took out something from his pocket quickly. Guess I have to act fast. With that he dropped whatever he had in his hand. Suddenly whole dome was covered with thick smoke. Smoke bombs, the masked nin thought. After a while the smoke cleared, but there was no sign of Sai or Sasuke. What did you do? Magic? Naruto waved his fingers in a childlike manner. What Naruto really did was as soon as he dropped the bombs he created 4 shadow clones. 2 carried Sai and Sasuke to the end of the dome, while the other 2 hinged into kunai, and was thrown outside of the dome through the space between mirrors. Getting out of the dome the clones changed back, and got close to the other side of the frozen wall, and used Kawarimi with Sai and Sasuke. After that they did the same way, to get 2 more clones out who took Sai and Sasuke near Sakura and Tazuna, away from the battlefield. You really care about those that are precious to you. Hearing that Naruto just tilted his head. I am their backup, punk. It is my job to protect my comrades. Now come, let's fight. Naruto drew his swords fast enough to block the barrage of senbones, but few went past his guard and hit him. By the looks of it, he figured that his opponent was going to keep it like that. If it was a battle of stamina any other time, he would have won, but right now he knew he didn't have the time for that. He had to draw the Hayaten user out of his mirrors. Please, stop fighting. I don't want to kill unnecessarily. Stop bitching, will you? Shadow Clone Jutsu. Creating 10 shadow clones, he commanded, wall formation. Hearing that all the clones formed a wall around him, some stand on the shoulders of other to make sure even real Naruto's head was covered. The masked nin was surprised as well but suddenly saw there was light coming inside of clone wall. Whatever it is, it won't be good. With that he bombarded the clones with senbones. But suddenly the clones made way for real Naruto. Beat this, Twin Moon Storm style, Crescent Moon. A huge lightning-powered white energy wave came from Naruto's sword, kind of like white color Jutsuga Tensho. From where the masked nin was it really looked like a crescent moon with a bit lightning flare in it. The energy wave shattered the mirrors it hit. Not liking what he saw, he dashed towards Naruto with a kunai, to finish the battle fast. Gotcha. Naruto said without even looking. To the ice user's surprise lots of pebble and shuriken here and there transformed into Naruto. Before he could even land 2 Naruto came back, and tried to grab him from 2 different sides, one came low and one high. His open option was jumping which he did, but no sooner he saw one clone bend down, and another used him as a step tool to jump to catch up, and before he could do anything to his surprise the clone in front spew water at him to catch him off guard, while real Naruto used the midair clone as another stepping tool to go higher than him. He flipped his body in front and shouted, Uzumaki style, Mirage takedown. With that the real Naruto brought his foot down directly at his head. The masked nin didn't saw that coming at all. He was shot down but, before he could even touch the ground 2 clones from different sides shoulder tackled him instantly taking him out, but also making sure that the masked nin didn't break his neck by hitting the ground. Naruto safely landed and went beside the masked nin to see if he was alive. After that he looked at his swords. There were too many cracks. He hated this. His technique was good, and he could use few times but his swords couldn't handle the power causing them to crack on the first shot making them useless. Soon the ice started breaking apart, indirectly declaring him the winner. But it was short-lived when he heard the explosion. Other part of the bridge. When Zabuza saw his accomplice got defeated, and he got caught by Kakashi, he was sure it was over. But before Kakashi could pierce him with his Rikiri both of them were blown off by an explosion nearby. You miss idiot. Gato hissed. Sorry boss, it is hard to aim with all the mist. One of his goon replied. Gato. Zabuza spat. The explosion was too close, and it almost took both him and Kakashi out. Sorry Zabuza, but I didn't intend to pay you from the beginning. Too much hassle for my taste. Also your bounty is kinda high, so it is more profitable for me to just dispose of you. Sick'em boys. But before any of the thugs did anything Naruto jumped in front of them. Stop evildoers, for you shall be punished for your crimes. Naruto shouted while doing his favorite pose. Naruto, it isn't time to act like this, fall back. Kakashi ordered. He doesn't know if even he can hold off all of them with his current condition. Look at the kid, go run back to your mama brat. All of you guys are outnumbered. One of the thugs laughed at him. Outnumbered? Me. Preposterous. Naruto laughed manically making everyone's sweat dropped. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. The whole area was filled with over hundreds of Naruto. Charge! Naruto roared. All the clones took out their kunai, shuriken, wooden stick, anything sharp they have, or they could find and charged. Against a seasoned ninja, these clones wouldn't be much of a problem as one head could dispel them, but against thugs who didn't know much about hardcore battles, it was enough. The clones kept on pushing, but slowly they were being pushed back. Kakashi and Zabuza made a truce, and were helping, but Naruto knew they couldn't keep it up. To kill a snake, one has to take out the head. He signaled his clones to make a way for him, and as soon as a clear way was made, Uzumaki style, piercing phantom arrow one-shot version. He channeled all his leftover chakra into the kunai, and threw it with all his remaining might. Dato didn't even see what hit him. Before Naruto became unconscious, he heard Yamato voice and villagers shout. Another typical day of my life. Unknown place. Mita couldn't believe his luck. After his bluff that Gato might come with all his men, there was an explosion which solidified his theory. The wood users left him thinking he wouldn't be able to get out of there anytime soon. Damn, I had to use Iron Tower to get out. Now I have to lay low for a while. But before he could continue running, suddenly he felt all his chakra leaving his body. He fell to the ground, but he couldn't stand up, as if the ground was restricting him. He heard someone behind him, but for some reason he didn't want it to look back. 3 down, 3 more to go. No one heard the lone screaming. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want a next part of this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. And also check out the other videos that I have created, and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.